Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Gainer Gossip. I am Pluto, and with me as always is,
Hi guys, I'm Ginny.
and with us today is one of my friends that I've made over at the Initiative Order, Nate. He is head of, I think, content, right? Nate? I
Yep,
don't know
yep.
your
Head of
exact
content over
title.
there.
Yeah, why don't you
No,
go
you're
ahead
good.
and why
It's
don't you go ahead and give a brief intro? I know you do a shit ton of stuff over there, so it's hard to think of exactly what your specific things was supposed to be.
Hey, no worries. First off, thank you so much for having me on. Super appreciate it. Yeah, so I help out at the Initiative Order. I kind of helped Danny and my partner Bree form the channel 2 or 3 years ago. At this point in time, I can't remember. Time is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But yeah, basically, I am the head of content, which is just a fancy way of saying I help get our games and shows up off the ground. So, basically, for new GMs who are interested in streaming or running community games, one shots, miniseries, campaigns, basically, I'm the first point of contact for them over there. Pluto, you've been through the process. You know how it goes. We set up a
Yep.
Zoom call, go over, date, time, how many players you want, what system, XYZ, and from there we just kind of get the wheels and gears turning. So
Yeah, I try to say I'm not gonna run a lot of community games, and every month I'm blowing Nate's DMs up with different game ideas, so
it's awesome
it
though. We
works
love it.
out.
We love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Danny went into a little bit about the whole situation around how it started with him like supposed to run a game, and you guys were in it, and then it went from there to pretty much like form the group itself. So.
Yeah.
So with that, I guess generally we asked just what got you into tabletops in general. Like when did you start playing? What system? I'm assuming probably D&D, but and you never know what system you got into and just how it like went from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been into ttrpgs for I think going on about 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So it started with my partner. She worked at AT&T for a little bit, and she was kind of nerding out there with one of her coworkers. Kind of started about with like video games and whatnot, and eventually he and his wife invited us over for like some card games and stuff. Kept going with that. We were going over there probably about once a month or so, just hanging out. And eventually the conversation kind of turned into him saying, "Hey, you guys ever heard of D&D?" Like, yeah, we've heard of it, never played it. He's like, I haven't run it in I think it had been close to 20 years since he had run a game.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, I wouldn't mind trying it out if you guys want to give it a shot. So we said, sure, why not? And so we went over
Nice.
there, and we actually started with fourth edition because it was right before
Oof.
fifth edition had dropped. So first couple sessions were a little bit rough
I don't
with
hear,
fourth
I
edition.
don't hear a lot of good about fourth edition. I didn't start until
So
5e, so I avoided
yeah,
that.
I think we only had maybe 6 sessions tops in fourth edition before we
Mhm.
switched over to fifth. And it started out, like I said, about once a month, kind of just playing some games.
Mhm.
Um, and for me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those guys where I'm like, okay, that's such a nerd game. I'm never ever gonna try it, never gonna be into it. Uh, and then there was just this one session that was kind of focused on my character, who was a rock gnome paladin,
Okay.
essentially. And he had set up this little mini adventure for us to basically go into this old school mine to go check some stuff out. And within that mine, my character found the Holy Avenger, which is like a super ridiculous
Mm-hmm.
legendary sword. And I
Oh.
think,
The paladin go-to item for
yeah,
sure.
and
Yep.
I think I was only level 5 when I
Oh,
found it.
God.
So, but after that session, I like turned to my partner. I looked at all of them. I'm like, this is freaking cool. I am so hooked on this. And from there, we just kind of made it into from once a month to every other weekend, with our first campaign lasting 4 years, 5 years, I think.
Oh, holy
Oh wow.
So
that's impressive.
yeah, we
Yeah.
went from level 1 to I think we ended at level 24 by the end
Oof,
of it.
Wow, that's
damn.
impressive.
Hmm.
Yeah, the longest thing I've had is like West Marches, and those aren't like static campaigns at all. Those are a lot different. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely those moments where you get your characters have like a big moment for their specific like backstory. I've had so many like the way my first West March was in worked was everyone got a nemesis that tied into their backstory that you got to hunt down at like higher levels, and then everyone had a retirement mission. And some of those missions for some of my characters in there were just like so poetic. Like my main character went from like a Sherlock Batman vibe to almost going full Punisher mode, and then somehow becoming a mad scientist by level 20. So it was a
Sure.
weird like journey for that character a lot.
Oh,
Still
that's
like
so cool though.
yeah, I've totally made a fake magic card for Gale for my artificer deck just to use it whole because he was an artificer by the end of it. It's like I just gotta have
Oh, that's so cool though. That's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Um,
That is cool.
yeah, but those big like story moments are like what I love about D&D. That's what I got. That's how I got Ginny hooked in the one campaign I did on Twitch. I got her super
Oh my
involved in her
gosh, yeah.
backstory. She wrote out like this whole royal family for her family, had like 6 or 7 siblings, and had like a weird relationship with the dad that was in charge. She had two dads. I gave her a scene to like make up with her dad right before the tournament, and then during the tournament, I killed half of her family,
That was
including him.
evil.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
it's so funny because like I was like you, Nate. Like I was like, oh, I don't think I'd like D&D and stuff, and then I didn't think I did because I was playing a girl character that was like, kind of like me, like a bard. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored. But then I switched to playing guys, and I only like playing guy characters. It's weird. But I love playing like the playboy type guy character. And I got hooked when Pluto hooked me on that game where he killed my family. It was like traumatizing. Like I didn't think I would get attached. But I was literally upset with him. Like I was like, you just had him make up Thomas
she
make up with his dad, and then you're gonna go kill him.
she was
Like
full on
what?
bargaining while it happened. Like, no, there's gotta be like
I
something I can do.
was,
Can
I
I make some
was.
rolls? Like, what can I do? I think she made one roll to save her other dad,
Oh
but
my
the other one
gosh.
Yeah.
she rolled single digits on
Thank
every other
God.
medicine check she rolled to try to do something.
Yeah, I was able to save the one dad, which was good. But literally, they just made up him and the other dad, and then Pluto killed the dad,
Yeah,
and it was
she went
traumatizing.
from fifth in line of the Duke of that country to having to take over by the end of the campaign because his sister didn't want
Yeah,
it. So I was like, hey, we went
yeah,
from
that,
fifth to first pretty quickly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
And then
Because
and
his
then the
family was
poetic thing
evil
about
too.
it was too like there was an interaction where he was at like the other one of the other Dukes' house, which Thomas her character had a thing with the heir there, the girl there, and she was in their room to like get her away or whatever, and he heard
Oh
her
yeah,
like he heard his brother's voice down the hall. His brother's the one that had a hand in killing the family and everybody else. And I had her
yeah.
roll a wisdom save, and she rolled a 3, and it kicked off a
Oh.
battle that was very surprising they survived because originally they were going to get hit outside the city by Thomas and his forces. They did it with Thomas, the forces he had, plus the other dad, and then everything that his security forces in that mansion all at once. And only Ginny's character and Gus's characters were upstairs with the two bosses.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
It was really bad. It got really
yeah,
close. I think you had like what a few HP left by the end of the fight, if that.
yeah. That was you're evil. That was insane.
Yeah, it can just be so much fun with those type of stories. Okay, but
Yeah, definitely.
so with that, I think um do you have a favorite system? Because I know since D&D now, like especially the initiative order,
Ooh,
like there's so many systems that we run in there that people play in there. Like all the different
Yeah,
PBTA games and all the stuff Modifius mates and like all the other system that keeps coming out, I feel like all the time lately.
for sure, for sure. D&D will always hold such a special place in my heart because it was my introductory,
Mm-hmm.
into the ttrpg world. And as amazing as it still is, yeah, it's become very, very saturated over the years to where you look anywhere and you're going to see D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I love about, like you said, these smaller companies, Modifius, Free League being one of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
They just create so many other wonderful systems. The one that I would say is probably a super close second to me would be Symbarum. It's
Mm-hmm.
another dark fantasy D20 system. It's almost like a more simplified version of D&D, and where you don't have, these massive skill lists. You just have your main attributes, and that's what all of your rolls are based on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have different like powers and stuff that you can use. It's very, very
That's the
simple.
one that you're running on TIO right now, right? Like the long running one that you have.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So
oh,
we're running through basically it was my first time running the system, so we're just going through all of the pre-written campaigns that they
Mm-hmm.
have, which is basically one campaign stretched over 6 or 7 books.
Okay.
And the plan is to run
Wow.
through every single one of those books with this group because it's all part of one overarching story. But the system itself, though, super dark, gritty fantasy, and just incredibly lore heavy. And so there's just so much to this world. And of course, it was Danny who introduced me to it. We were having a Zoom call one day, and he's like, "Oh, hey, check this out on Free League. They're doing all these sales, and look at this massive bundle of all the Symbaroum books." And I got one look at the artwork. I'm like, "Yep, I'm buying that. I am running that right now."
Yeah, Danny very much has a type when it comes to
Yeah,
tabletop or anything else, honestly.
yeah, for sure. And so it's become such an incredible system. Again, super fun to play. It's super simplistic, and I really like that it's a system where the GM will never roll dice at
Okay,
all.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
All the dice rolls are done by the players, and then I just basically give them modifiers based on
hmm
situations, which I thought was just a really cool aspect that I just never really saw in a game before. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is really
just
cool.
super dope system to check out.
Yeah, it's one of the things I liked about what system was it? I think a lot of the Powered by Apocalypse games also don't typically have GMs roll. But it just
Mhm.
makes it you can just focus more on what's going on with the players and around not having to worry about rolls. Just I think setting modifiers can sometimes make it a lot easier. Because trying to roll all those dice for all those combat, like for D&D specifically, I like the
Oh
load
yeah,
up minions, and it can get a lot of dice rolling for the GM too, and it can add up a lot of time
yeah,
to the
and
combat.
I'm gonna say I'm a fan of static initiative. That way, you just know who's going when. You don't have to
hmm
roll every single time.
That is fair. Yeah, I typically do group rolls. So like if I have like a group of the same enemy, one of them rolls and then they all go on that turn because I'm not gonna like yeah, all these horde of goblins are not each getting their own turn in this
That's fair.
combat. And then usually like I do bigger maps, so it's like yeah, they all move up and dash the first like 2 turns of combat.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, especially with like spellcasters and shit. I've done that
Oh
thing
my
where like I
gosh.
had a very ambitious idea and then I throw a bunch of spell sheets on there and I'm like, well, fuck, they just gonna cast the same like 3 spells this whole combat because that's a lot.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just it can get overwhelming sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah, easily overwhelming.
That sounds overwhelming, actually.
Yeah, GMing can be fun, but it can also be a lot at times too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's
Oh, and Pluto, I know that you usually ask questions for your guests, but can I ask Nate one question? I just am
yeah,
curious.
shoot.
Okay, so for me, like the games I like are more role play based because I'm not super into combat.
Mhm.
So what games would you say that are ttrpg games that are more like role play based besides Vampire the Masquerade? Because I know that one is, but I'm not too sure about others that are more like less combat.
Gotcha. Totally fair. Um, it's difficult to say, because I feel like you can really take any system and spin it one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Personally, for me, a lot of my games are very much story and RP driven, just because
Nice.
I like to have my players have those moments and tell the story that they want to tell. You know,
That's cool.
and so I feel like it just depends on the group and the game master, but you can really take almost any system and make it more RP heavy. Personal experience, uh, Call of Cthulhu tends to be more of a an RP
Mm-hmm.
heavy, um,
Nice.
and I would also say the Alien RPG as well can be a bit more RP heavy because I mean,
Yeah,
in that
not
one you're basically traveling through space or fighting a xenomorph.
yeah,
You
not a
know,
lot of combat. When combat takes off, you either die or go insane in like 2 seconds. So it's not a lot of
yeah,
combat at that
exactly.
point. It's more
Oh
like you're
yeah.
trying to avoid that. There's also that one. I'm trying to look it up. There's like a Jane Eyre
The Call
system.
of Cthulhu sounds fun because I know that's based on like the Eldridge terrors and everything. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's a super cool system. I've looked at the combat in it before, and it's way above my head. So every time
Really?
I run it, oh yeah, I don't understand any of this.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu is on my list of stuff to run, but there's like it's a lot. There's a lot of different like mechanics behind it that you have to
Mhm.
know. I'm trying to look up. There was a Dimension 20 did Court of Fame Flowers, and they used a system mixed with D&D that was kind of
Oh, nice.
non-combat based. We talked about it briefly, I think, when Corey was on here.
Oh yeah, I remember Corey talking
Yeah,
about that. Yeah.
the Good Society.
Mm.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
Jane Austen based RPG. So everything is like conflict is social checks and reputation and making sure that you keep your reputation intact. And there's
yeah.
like a whole write letters sequence where you like write a letter to some other PC or character at the start of the session. And then like there's a reputation bar and there's tokens that you can get to like auto succeed on stuff. It's like very, very driven to be like your one show that you like, Bridgerton. So
Oh yeah, I love Bridgerton. Yeah. I think that sounds like fun actually, getting to play that air. I mean,
well,
if you're into it, like I am, that is. If
yeah,
you don't like it,
you're
then
gonna
there
you're
you
gonna have
go.
to get someone else to run that. I probably would not be able to run
Yes,
that
I
for you.
know. It's okay.
We'll force either Corey or Bree to run it for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
sounds
that
good.
was a system that at one point we had talked about running on TO. I mean, this was a couple years back at this point. But yeah, if we ever get it up and running, Jenny, we're dragging you on. I'm just telling you right now.
Okay, sounds good. I will definitely
You
join.
can be on a stream and enact all the stuff from Bridgerton that you love to watch. Let's try to keep it somewhat PG. I've walked in on you
It's
watching that
not
show.
that bad.
That
Oh
show
my
is
goodness.
bad.
No, that was just season one.
Right,
Season two.
you watch it for the plot.
No, I really do. Like, oh my god. Anyways, I will definitely join if you run it.
Okay, perfect. So with TIO then, when did you guys start getting into the community games like aspect once you created? Like how like I don't know, I joined like last year. So like when you guys got it up and running, how did it go from like just a community into the streams and then into like the community games and all that aspect?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm terrible with timeline things, just because
I am
my
too.
brain, I've got the memory of a peanut. Uh, so um, shorter version is kind of, it all started back when COVID-19 was kind of first coming about, kicking into full swing. I'm sure Danny told you the story of how we were all
Mm-hmm.
supposed to go to GaryCon that year, got
Yeah.
canceled. He invited us to play some games and whatnot. Um, and kind of after we had kind of started streaming Call of Cthulhu, that was kind of our first stream where it was just Danny running it, and the four original players that were off stream, we brought in two others. And kind of in between the games and after the games, we were just talking with Danny a bit. And it was at this time my partner was part of another streaming community. I will not name them.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of incredibly toxic, and was more so concerned with growing exponentially, getting on guests who were like, had a ton of followers, XYZ.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And myself, Bree, and Danny, we were all on the page of F that. We just want to have fun with people. And
Right.
so we kind of started just posting to our socials, hey, we're looking for some players to try to get some games running behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of started thinking, well, how can we start building this up? Well, let's start focusing on the socials. Let's start drawing some attention there. Okay, what's the next step? Let's make a Discord where people can come hang out. From there, we continue talking, and we're like, okay, we can't get our entire community onto a stream, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but what can we do to let people continue to play? Well, what if we just start running private community games, especially of the systems that we run on stream that you just don't normally see? Just because we try to run all the systems that just aren't out there normally.
Yeah.
And so when people, the original thought was when somebody would watch a stream of, say, Cyberpunk Red, oh, that's a cool stream. I've never seen it. I want to play it. Cool. The following month, we'll run it as a community game for people to jump in and play and check out themselves.
Nice.
And that was kind of what we did, was we'd run a show and then the following month run a community game of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as more people started joining, more game masters, more players, it just kind of turned into, okay, whoever wants to run whatever, just let us know and we'll make it happen.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's literally what I've been doing. I've been using the community games as a way to test out all these different systems. Like, I want to play this. Okay, no one's running it. I'm gonna run this.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good trial and error ground too. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a Pathfinder campaign I'm gonna run on stream in like May or June on my channel, and I'm already gonna run probably like a prologue mission in the community game
Nice.
in April. So I'll be hitting you up with those details at some point. But yeah, I
Awesome.
was like, let's just do a mission that takes place in my world like way before where everyone else is, and let's just build the world based on what these characters do, and then I'll use that on
Hmm.
stream. So that'd be like a fun idea to like map it out, where I don't have to map out all the lore myself. I can have some other people do it for me too.
Totally fair. Yeah, yeah.
Plus Pathfinder's a lot, so the more practice I get to run on Pathfinder, the better.
That's another one that
Yeah.
looks interesting, but I've looked at the character sheet once and I shut the book. I got scared. Like there's so much to it.
You gotta jump in the community game I run next month and play. It's not as scary as it looks. There's like Path Builder lays out character creation pretty simply. It pretty
Okay,
much
very
walks you
cool.
step by step of it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like that you guys did that though. Like when you were feeling that way with that other place, you just decided to create your own, and now you have like this huge thing of people that are not toxic at all, like very down to earth, chill people who just want to have fun, and that's how you like kind of came about the initiative order. So I really like that you create a community for people to have a good time and not worry about that toxicity, because especially like just like with acting, there's certain communities too that can be toxic, and like I know that too. So it's nice to have a place where you get a lot of like-minded individuals together that are like genuine and not like trying to compete or trying to like get followers, just genuinely care about the game and want to like do it together and have fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's definitely our ultimate goal, because there's definitely been other channels like the one my partner was a part of, who at first said they wanted to work with us and then immediately started turning it into a competition. And
Mm,
we're just kind of looking at them like,
Yeah.
why?
Right.
Why? We don't want this. We're just having fun with our friends,
Yeah.
because that's what this space should be about. It's just, having fun with your friends and just supporting each other and just building each other up left and right. It's I
Yeah.
don't you win nothing by putting others down,
yeah,
you
there's
know.
just a
Yeah,
lot of
100%.
people that
I agree with you.
want to be Critical Role and don't
Yeah,
care about how they get to reach it. Like the Critical Role they were just friends playing the game and started to run it, and then it hit. It wasn't like they didn't do anything like horrible to make it happen. Like I think
yeah,
people lose
no,
sight
and
of that.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
love Critical Role, all the respect in the world for them. They're all incredible individuals. But yeah, essentially they got lucky.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they
definitely what it
were
is.
obviously fairly well-known voice actors at the time that
Hmm.
decided to start streaming D&D. And because they were the first to do it, look where they're at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um, and it's I know it's not impossible to get that level. It's just incredibly hard.
yeah,
And so, it's like that's why that's not our focus. If it happens, awesome.
yeah.
If it doesn't, awesome. We're still having fun with our friends, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
that's how I see it. I'm
Exactly.
trying to play and run as anything as I can, and if I could somehow get to that point, that'd be awesome. Do I
Hmm.
expect it to happen overnight or by treating people like shit? No. I
Yeah,
just want
no.
to play fun systems and run fun games with cool people. I mean, the TTR community is not as big as people think it is, I feel like. It's very insular. If one thing happens, usually it's all over TTRPG, like
Oh yeah.
social media, like
Oh,
especially I
100%.
feel like
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot more of those like negative players have been coming out the last year or two, because like I
Yeah,
feel like every
it's
other day I open Twitter and something's going on in the community that people have found out about, and it's just like why do you need to do that to do that?
Yeah.
Like
And I
eventually it's
never
going to come out, and if you do get something big, no one's going to want to watch it.
hmm
Yeah, and I think it's really important too who like you surround yourself with. Like even with like acting, I try to surround myself with like actors that are friends that are genuine people, and we generally want to support each other. Like if one of my friends is succeeding, then I consider myself succeeding too, because it's
hmm
like it's not about competition to me. It's about I generally care about you and I want you to succeed in what you do. Because I feel like when one of us wins, we all win. Because like
Yeah.
I don't like the type of people that are competitive and judgy and mean and just envious of others. I don't understand those type of people. I never have. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you, because who you're around is like it reflects your mood and how you feel about yourself too. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%, and the way I kind of see it too is the people that, we associate ourselves with, that says a lot about who you are as a person as well.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
if you're hanging out with toxic people, cool, you're okay with toxicity? Get out of here. We don't want that
Right.
shit, you know?
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. At the end of the day, like there's ways to go about stuff, and like I think
Mhm.
people lose sight in the way that entertainment, tabletop, all that kind of stuff in general, like those are stuff that you're generally people are passionate about because they enjoy it and they like to have fun doing it. The
Yeah.
money part of that is fine if you can make money off doing something you love. That's obviously great, but like the people who focus too much on that aspect of it and kind of lose sight of that in the first place, like why do it then? Why not just do some other like high paying job? And if you care about money so much, instead of doing something like that where you're interacting with other
Yeah.
people that are
Mhm.
just wanting to have fun at the end of the day.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
about the money. It should be about the passion for what you're doing at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Hmm. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people lose sight of, is they put so much time and effort into this, and they're just chasing money, like you said. It's like, it's okay to work to that goal, but you got to be a little realistic about it here,
Yeah,
like with the
exactly.
initiative order, it's a hobby for us,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, do we make a little bit of money off of it? Yeah, we do, and we pump it right back into the community, or we give it away to charity, because at
That's
the end of the
awesome.
day, we don't care,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And that's awesome because like you're helping other people at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And that's really cool. Like I remember, I think it was a game you guys had. I can't remember what charity that was, but I thought that was really nice. Babe, it was the game you were in, babe, on the
Oh, do
initiative
you
order.
mean the one where we did like the four? I think it was like four streams in a row for like the hurricane stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I don't think it was a
Yeah.
specific game, but we just took all the games that were running currently. I think for that week or 4 days or whatever, and just put up charity towards that whole situation. I think is what we
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Char-
Helping people like that.
yeah, I love doing charity one shots. I did one with PJ for Pathfinder for oh man, I don't remember what charity was now. But we did a
Because he's
charity one.
done so many games. He's given so
I
many
want to
games.
say it was Jasper's game day because it was like an auction one, and I only did it because the one PJ ran, there was one spot that no one bid on. I was like, well, it's like $20. I'll go play some Pathfinder with PJ. Why not for charity? Sure,
Yeah.
Heck
jumped
yeah.
in. Yeah, but I feel like charity one shots are a really cool thing, and also introduces you to a lot of new people too. It's like a fun way to raise money for a good cause and meet new people in the community too, because a lot of people do those community games. So
I
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I kind of feel like too, like when you're doing something for just the money over like the passion, people can tell. Like even if that's acting or D&D, whatever it may be, people can tell if you're doing something for just the money. They can tell like just by the content you make or how you react to others. They can tell when you're a genuine person. So I feel like that kind of plays into like to like people, like being there for you. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I feel like for me at least I can tell when somebody's genuine and somebody's not. Like I don't know if others can, but it's just like it's a vibe you get kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those. If my dog doesn't let you pet it, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is kind of scary because my best friend, if she's amazing, I've noticed since I was 10. My cat hates her, but she's the nicest person. But I just think my cat can tell my best friend hates cats, which
wait,
makes me
which best
sad.
friend?
I love cat. Ariel. Like,
Really, your
yeah.
cat hates Ariel?
Yeah. Ariel, Powder will hiss at Ariel,
I wish
literally.
Powder hated me, man. I'm allergic to
No,
cats, and
Powder likes
Powder
you.
follows me around the room. I
Oh,
hate it so
no.
much.
Yeah. And Ariel's like, why is he so evil? I'm just like, I think he can tell you don't like him because she'll talk about him. She'll be like,
I
you
don't
made him
like him. I
happy.
literally stomp on the floor, get him away from me, so I don't start sneezing, and he still comes back to me. It's like, oh,
I love animals, so.
oh man. So let's see what else we have here. And when we step away from tabletop for a little, what hobbies do you have outside of tabletop when you're not playing? I know you spend a shit ton
Oh,
of
that's a good
time
question.
in the tabletop stuff with TIO, but when you're not, what do you guys like to do for fun, you and Bree, or even just you
Oh God.
yourself?
I mean, we're definitely homebodies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're obviously big video game nerds as well outside. Magic the Gathering as well. Another big hobby for us, but um, there's other hobbies we both kind of want to get back into. For me personally, I used to do martial arts a lot. Starting when I was a
Nice.
kid, did it all through high school. Haven't been into it in a while. It's something I hope to get back into in the
Mm-hmm.
near future. Just to have something away from home. Um, and Brie, as far as her hobbies go, she's obviously getting into more like portrait work. For those that follow her on socials, they can see that she's doing a lot of like digital portraits and artwork and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, aside from that, we're honestly living that boring home life.
There's
pretty
nothing wrong
much.
with that. I am also a homebody. Jenny's the one who likes to go out and do stuff more often, so she's usually
Guilty as
dragging me outside the apartment as much as
pleasure.
she can.
I do like to go. I like both. Like I like being home. Like I like my alone time too, because I think like as like a Cancer, that's my zodiac sign. I
Same.
Oh really? Nice. We're
Yeah.
the best sign, I feel like. But like as you know then too, like sometimes you need that alone time because it can be
Mhm.
very overwhelming. And that's what's so funny because like even being in acting, like I love being around others and being engaging, like how I'm sure you do, because that's kind of like acting too, when you're playing D&D and role playing,
Yeah.
it's like a form of that. But then like you get so overwhelmed sometimes you're like, I just need some time to myself to like watch a movie or a show and just relax because you need that alone time. I think like as much as I love people, like I'm an introvert extrovert, meaning like I love being around people, but I'm also kind of introverted where I need my alone time. But so yeah, so being a Cancer, like it's weird. I like going out, I like going to the movies, I like going bowling, I like hitting the town, but I also sometimes like being home too. So I'm a mix of like both, I feel like.
That's fair. Yeah, like for me, I sell wine for a living, and so
That's cool.
I'm constantly out driving around talking to accounts
Mm.
every day, 5 days a week. So I'm seeing people 5 days a week
Oh,
for
that has to get
8+
draining.
hours a day. I'm like, I just want to sit at home right now.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
But yeah, definitely every now and then there'll be that itch of just be like, let's go do something. Let's leave. You know.
Yeah, that has to get draining because I feel that because like with my job, being a security agent, it's virtual, it's remote, but my boss is a little micromanagey, so we all have to be on video the whole time. And then on
Oof,
top,
that's rough.
yeah, I try to hide my face sometimes because like I don't want to look at people 24/7. And then like the calls are on video, so like they're not just audio, and we have to wear a uniform and all that. And it's like just talking to people 24/7, and especially some of the situations are very like sad and serious, like domestic violence. I'm very empathic, so like it's hard for me to see people go through stuff like that.
Oh, I can
I've had
imagine. Yeah.
suicidal calls as well, so it's a lot. Like it's very draining. So I can imagine like you being out on the town, selling wine. You have to interact with people on the daily, so it's probably constantly draining your energy.
For sure.
Yeah, there's a reason why my setup's a lot more advanced than Jenny's setup for her computer. I have everything over here in this corner that I could never need to leave if I really wanted to. I'd be completely set.
You could live there,
All my,
like
I
on your
mean,
computer.
honestly, I could. Where any place is wooden floors, and the fridge is literally right there, like right next to me. I could just roll my chair over to the fridge if I needed to.
Very true. You definitely could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna jump right on Destiny when this is over because you have a call to make. So
Oh
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
all I
yeah.
gotta do is
My
just
friend.
turn to the other monitor, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, you have a really nice setup though, in all honesty. Now
Yeah,
with the new place. Yeah. So,
yeah. I
and
mean,
oh my God, Pluto has so many pop figures, Nate. Like if you saw them all, you would laugh.
yeah,
I've,
it's a
I've seen a
lot.
little bit of the collection, but it's awesome.
I
Yeah,
love pop figures too, though. So
yeah.
I
I have too many. The
get
the the Goku and Vegeta ones pop up during when we play our Magic nights because they're like right in my little area for it. So
I love like the because I have a lot of like the Nicktoons ones, like the older Nicktoons ones, and I love
Oh,
Disney and
nice.
Marvel. Yeah, and I'm like struggling right now because when we moved, I need like shelves in here, so they're all in my box right now, and I'm used to seeing them and them being out, and they're just in the box. I'm like, I need to bring them out.
yeah, I was able to fit mine up, but I have like no desk space on this side because of all these
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z. I need to buy shelving too, honestly. I think I'm gonna buy like Spice Rat type shelvings. I feel like they would fit in
Oh
it
yeah.
and it would keep them in line because I need to get something in here so I can free up some more space.
Definitely.
Okay, let's see. Um, okay, so another general question: do you prefer to DM or play more, and why? Like, what do you prefer, and then why do you like that over the other as much?
Oh gosh. I mean, at this point, I'm definitely a forever DM. I DM
Yep.
significantly more than I play. So when I do get to play, I very much enjoy it. Taking on the role of just being able to tell, the story that my character wants to tell, and not having the stress of having to prep and deal with the chaos that is having people sitting at your table. But at the same time, though, being a DM and GM is incredibly rewarding at times. I love guiding my players through stories and just kind of for me, it's always rewarding to just narrate just kind of a general scene and just putting my players in it and just letting them go
Mm-hmm.
wild and just watching the interactions that they create. Um, Especially with my Symbarum group specifically, they are very much a chaos bunch of individuals in this super dark fantasy world. And there's been a lot of like super dark and gory, gritty moments. And to watch them go from having fun, goofing off to just immediately switching to these like serious conversations and watching them just kind of interact between one another is just incredibly rewarding. And to be the one that kind of got them to that point and helped push them in that direction, set that scene up for them to explore. So I always complain about not getting to play enough, but I very much enjoy the role of being the DM and the GM. Um, so if I had,
I think that's a constant. I feel like every Furrow game's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I wish I could play more, and then they just go run another 5 or 6 games.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
That sounds
just
like you, Pluto.
yeah, it is. Yeah, just like running games is definitely rewarding, especially like when you're narrating the scene or like you build the world around and then rap role playing, and then there's just that group reaction to something that happens, whether it's like a sad moment, intense moment, or like the whole group's like, oh shit, what do we do?
yeah.
Type of thing. That's just the most satisfying thing to see.
Yeah, there was one moment in one of my games where the group was basically in this town where uh, the church of the town is basically just coming down on people.
Mm-hmm.
There was an individual who's running like a mission house to help people because the church was pushing them away, and he was essentially labeled as a heretic by the church. And so he had this long line of people waiting to go into the mission house, and the group of players got into the line while they're waiting. Coming from one of the alleyways from between a couple buildings were these cultists carrying these large, like fiery oil pots that they were going to go burn down the house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And one of the players is like, "Oh, I got this awesome idea. I'm going to go ahead and destroy the pots while they're carrying them." And so they do. The pots go off, killing these cultists immediately. And my player, she's like, oh yeah, that was freaking awesome. But then immediately realizing that she caught the buildings next to the pots
Yep.
on fire, resulting
Oh.
in the deaths of a couple innocent NPCs. And to just watch her face kind of change, realizing the devastation that she had just done, I'm like, yep, that's how it's done right there. you
Yep.
know just seeing those fun moments of just your players just going through a mixed bag of emotions is always enjoyable.
Yeah,
That's
you can
awesome.
always try to do something, but you gotta if you don't think about the consequences, shit's gonna happen. I mean, last night
Mm-hmm.
as a player for me in the Gondros finale, no spoilers, but I literally went from super into potentially being in a group sets thing to being shattered emotionally by another player in like the span of
Yep,
five
Whoa,
yep.
minutes. Like I was
that
almost
sounds
literally crying. Yeah,
traumatizing.
I almost cried on stream. I had to like duck my head for a bit as that scene ended. It was intense. So yeah, those
Yeah,
moments like facilitating that as a GM is so much fun. Especially I love when I like come into a session. I'm like, okay, I didn't get to prep anything. Let's throw a situation and then just let them go crazy. I've had
yeah.
multiple sessions where I just don't really barely interact for like an hour or two of game because they're just fully going at it, and I love that.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it would be fun to like create, but also like the worlds that you get to create for it. Like when you set up the whole world, like whatever you're playing. And I feel like that's probably really satisfying to create too. And then see like all your players like play in that world and like what happens. I feel like you're kind of sitting back in a sense like a director,
Mm-hmm.
eating popcorn, watching like it
Yeah,
unfold, which is kind of cool.
yep, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I can't run modules. I just can't do it. I have to. I always do custom worlds anymore. I
Yeah.
the Pathfinder world I'm building right now is completely from scratch. The one I built for the D&D campaign we did, Bay, was also completely from scratch. I
Oh
dive
wow.
way too deep into that shit. The ADC kit said it. I just go wild with character details.
Hmm.
My Pathfinder
Yeah.
document right now is not even
So
close to where I want it. There's
what
still
are
so much.
modules? Because I'm still learning about all this. Like, are modules different?
You want to explain that, Nate? I think you run them a little more than I do.
Yeah, no worries. So basically, modules are essentially like pre-written adventures. So
Oh,
like
nice.
So like all the D&D books that you see for sale at your FLGS, a lot of those are modules. They're preset adventures where they got all the locations built out, all the NPCs, all the enemies, everything's prepped and ready to go for you, and you
Oh,
just follow the
that's
pathway that's laid out in the book. Which nothing wrong with them. They're always a ton of fun to run. Um, and I have run a few different modules, but I always heavily modify them too to
Hmm.
kind of fit
yeah.
them and mold them to the players, because I like to, again, I'm a massive fan of letting the players control the story and I just help guide them along.
Yeah. That's cool. That's really neat.
Yeah, that's typically like one of the biggest things I do whenever I start a campaign. Even when I do world building, I'll build up the world, get it all set, and then I'm like, okay, give me your backstories. And then as soon
Hmm.
as I get those backstories, okay, I'm like, okay, so this fleshes out this a little bit more. This gives me some details over here. And then I have like a list of plot points. Like for my Starfinder game, they all do their backstory. I wrote like 2 or 3 sentences based off each of their backstories for plot threads to
Yeah,
throw in during the campaign. They have some stuff waiting for them. It's gonna be pretty fun to poke at.
that's
Would you
awesome. Yeah.
would you say, Nate, because Pluto does this all the time and I hate this. I mean, I love Pluto's games. You're amazing, GM. But would you say you traumatize your like your people too that play your games? Like you traumatize your players, like you get satisfaction, not like satisfaction out of traumatizing them, but like it kind of like I don't know how to word it, but you just like traumatizing them to kind of get them into character more.
I mean, I don't traumatize them on purpose. uh,
Well,
but
that's
but
good.
when it does get to that point though, it is incredibly satisfying to watch. Uh, Especially when you get to those points where your players are showing true emotion. It's not a performance
Hmm.
at that
Yeah.
point. It's you're touching on their human strings as the player, um,
Yeah.
and to watch them, explore that both in character and as themselves. It's just there's something special about those moments.
Yeah. See, I like that. I think that is important actually, because think about it. If you had like an easy game with no like hard moments, it wouldn't be believable. But it's just like
Mhm.
watching a show, they add the plot in there, they add the, things that the character's going through, and it helps the character connect better or the actor or whatever to that part. So I feel like
Yeah.
that is necessary. As much as like it made me mad when Pluto did that to my character, I feel like it's necessary to do that because that's how you get your players really into the game, probably.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things to do, especially like in my Symbaroum game with the church, especially kind of being this overreaching, almost oppressive entity in the world. I got a couple of my players who are playing witches who
Hmm.
are
Nice.
essentially frowned upon in the area that they are currently in. And they were essentially at this point where they were trying to get these old war generals to help them out to continue on. And one of the witches went up and had this conversation with one of the generals who basically uh, was incredibly condescending to her character, was just, super total piece of shit to her. And by the time
Yeah.
the conversation ended, door closed, they walked away. And she just went on this emotional monologue that just
Oh,
brought out,
nice.
a little bit of sadness and anger, to watch her just go off about this dickhead she just dealt with. I'm like, okay, this is the moment that I live for right now.
That's awesome. Like I
Yeah.
said, it really is like you're a director
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
directing
of
the
it
plot.
too. Like, I mean, D&D at the end of the day, you're pretty much playing heroes. Like, you're the hero of the story.
Hmm.
Name one superhero that doesn't have anything tragic happen to them. Name one that
Oh
has
yeah,
like a
exactly.
No
constantly
one.
good time. There's always shit that happens. So
I
like,
was literally just about to see Peter Parker, and then I was like, "Oh no, that's
yeah,
not true."
No.
Peter Parker. Peter Parker is the biggest punching bag in all of superhero like world
Yeah,
at all. Like, it's just constantly
facts.
getting shit thrown at him. Like, so I'm kind of glad they're doing the Tom Holland like remake with the next three, where they're actually putting him back in the situation that Peter Parker's usually in. He's not the golden like rich kid from Tony Stark anymore,
Oh yeah,
getting more to
Gotcha.
his roots. Yeah, but like definitely building. I don't set out to just traumatize my characters, but when the story pushes it that way, you have to take it to do character development. Like, it
well,
just
and it makes
Yeah.
happens.
it interesting because you can't have it just be easy. Then it's not interesting for people to watch or people to play. You
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
Yeah, back in my West March that I was in when I was DMing in there, one of my friends, Jasmine, made a character who was like, they were a paladin and they lived at this monastery until one of the other kids there, who was like kind of a shithead, pretty much led the giants there because there was a whole giants war going on, and they pretty much killed everybody, and she was the only survivor. So during her nemesis mission to hunt them down, she stumbled upon a village that he went through that was burned down by giants, and there was one little girl left.
Oh man. Oof.
Oh.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I was like, wait a second, this sounds familiar. Yeah, you find one little girl under the rubble with long red,
man.
and I even had her have like long red hair, just like her character.
Oh wow.
Yeah, her character ended up adopting the girl, but it was just like right in the feels, and I had her like crying. And now every time if I run a game with her and I use that like background like music for just like for like a dark like ambience music, she gets like traumatized from it. She's like, yeah, I can't listen to this song every time we play.
I can imagine.
I love those moments. I also love the almost unintentional moments too. So, for example, one of my players, she's a trans woman at the table.
Nice.
And we were doing almost like a flashback story because some of the players couldn't make it. And we were exploring her character's backstory a little bit. And she was basically training this younger woman who is an undead in this world. And when I was describing this character, I was describing her as existing but not living. And to see that player's reaction of just being like, almost those emotions coming back of before they had transitioned, of being, who they were before. Just like, it's very familiar to her. And just having that come out, I'm like, okay, that wasn't intentional at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that she made that connection there, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's the unintentional. I don't know, like it doesn't always start unintentionally, but I feel like when you make characters, like your first couple characters are just you, pretty much like turned up very much. Like Jenny, you said you made a bard. It's your first character. You're a very musical person and very entertainment.
That
and
character...
you literally made yourself. But then I feel like as you make more characters, like it becomes a way to like dive into who you are. Like you play different aspects or like different versions of yourself that like you don't get to really explore in day to day. Like I know for me, playing a lot of my characters and playing like through them have let me explore like my gender and sexuality in such a different way that I don't get to do in Ohio. So it's such a good outlet to like play those characters for sure.
I agree with that because, like, even though I was saying, like, I like playing, like, the guy characters, because Pluto always had this joke that I play guy, like, because I base my characters off of, like, actors or characters.
She plays characters she's attracted to. That's what she plays.
No, but...
That's all right. That's all right.
But it also is fun because I do have that, like, cheeky, like, sarcastic side. I don't show a lot, like, fun, not in a bad way, just, like, it's fun to, it's even as an actor, and I'm not like that, it's just fun to play different roles, so I love playing that role because it's like that's not me. I don't say I'm very girly because I don't like that term about tomboy or girly because I think we can be whatever we're into at the end of the day. But I know we talked about that before, Pluto, but like I am girly. I do like fashion and all that, but when I play a guy character, it's fun because I get to like experience this other side of me and really like unleash that as like an actor. Like I had Jughead flirt with the one lady or whatever. It's just fun. I don't know. It's just fun because it's like, it's acting. So it's just cool to play somebody
That was such a bad moment for your character though. She rolled a nat 1 on her persuasion, and the character, the succubi rolled a nat 20 on their insight against it. And she got like bitch slapped down the stairs from it because it was such a bad roll.
Oh, that's brutal.
It was so much fun.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like my characters have definitely explored like over the couple. I've only been playing for 4 or 5 years now, I think, and my characters have definitely changed. My first character was literally just straight cis Justin from when they were very closeted, like as an old man. That's who I played. So my characters have definitely changed. My characters have definitely changed throughout the years of like. And I feel like it's good to help like people understand stuff about themselves and like even in unintentional ways. I feel like I've seen so many people make characters and I'm like, oh, that's definitely something that you're looking to explore. You don't know about it, but I'll tie that in at some point. In this.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's what's fun about it for me. Like my favorite character is my Dick Grayson character when we were playing Vampire the Masquerade. Because I first off I love vampires. I'm big into vampires, and I love playing Dick Grayson. He had a different name, but that's basically who it was,
She
the
was pretty
actor.
much playing the actor
But
who plays him in Titans.
yeah, exactly. But it was so fun because like he was sarcastic, he was cheeky, like he was flirting with all the girls. I was like, hey, baby, come to my place. Like I like playing those kind of characters. It's so fun. I don't know why. I just do. But you know what? It could also be because like, and I was thinking about this because recently, like, because it's the same way for you, Pluto. Recently, like I did come out as like bi. So I feel like maybe it was like me suppressing that, maybe. Like, I don't know. Maybe that was why I played a guy character. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Could
yeah,
be a way for you to do the whole flirting with girls thing in a way that's like
yeah, because I feel
the
awkward
thing
about
that you're
that.
grown
Yeah,
up used to with the whole guy girl dynamic. I'm sure soon
yeah.
enough you'll be playing hot girls flirting with girls in tabletop too. I'm sure it'll evolve to that at some
But
point.
I think because of how I was raised, it's easier for me to do that playing a guy. Because even though being bi, I'm more into guys, and Pluto thinks that's just because of how I was raised. But it is truthful. I always lean more towards guys. I've always dated guys. But recently, I came out as bi, like maybe like 5 or 6 months ago. But I think like before that, before I came out, it was like it was a way also to play that and not feel guilty for it. Because if I were to play a girl character flirting with a girl, I would feel kind of weird about it, just because I'm still being opening up to that. Like it's fine with other people. It's just for me because of like my background and stuff. I'm opening up to like being okay with that for myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's not something that I can fully understand because I've never experienced that for myself.
Yeah.
But it's definitely okay, I think, to kind of just take your time and ease into, who you are and explore it how you want to. So it's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we got time for probably one more question. Let me
Wow, it's
think.
been that long already? Jeez.
Yeah, we're going through this pretty quickly. Let me think. Okay, is there any like thing specifically either for TIO or just in this tabletop space in general that like you want to do in the future that you haven't been able to do yet? Like anything, any like big game
That's a
aspirations,
good
playing
question.
with like someone big maybe, or even maybe like going to a certain con, anything like along those lines that you really want to like accomplish at some point.
Honestly, I don't think so. I'm happy with what we're doing and where we're going. I enjoy having fun with my friends. Would it be cool to play with a bigger name DM? Sure. If I got a table with Matt Mercer one day, fucking awesome. Uh, but that's not something that I don't ever see myself actively working towards.
Yeah.
With the initiative order, we always talk about, oh, it'd be super cool to turn this into a living. I personally don't think I would ever want to go that direction for
Mm-hmm.
myself. Um, I think for me, it's because my biggest fear would be getting burnt out on it.
Yep.
I enjoy having
Yeah.
this just as a hobby, something we do for fun. I'm happy with where we're at. I'm very happy with where we're going, and there's a lot of talks behind the scenes, future TIO plans that I can't say, but lots of really cool, amazing stuff in the works that I think people are going to really dig. So,
It's awesome. Yeah,
That's
like I
awesome.
always think about like I love running this stuff and sure it'd be cool to like be on like an actual show and I would love to do that, but I don't think I could ever be like I know there's people out there who just run games every day
hmm
as like a career, either start playing or Patreon or whatever. I don't think I could do that. I would get so burnt out running games eight
yeah,
hours a day as a job. It would take all the fun out of it.
yeah,
Like
and
sure, you can make money. You can probably make a lot of money because like even like base hourly rates for that's like 25 a person or something. That's a lot of tabletop.
yeah. And the other part for me too is, while there's nothing wrong with DMs wanting to get paid. You should get paid for the work
Mm-hmm.
that you're putting in. Um, I personally don't want to put up a financial barrier between me as a DM and somebody who wants to play.
Sadly, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's, again, nothing wrong with it. I just don't ever want to do that because, I mean, getting into the ttrpg space can be a little pricey, especially if you're trying to buy all the books and
Oh,
everything.
yep.
If I can alleviate that by running some free games, cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly. Like if I could ever like have a show where everyone on the show gets paid for just playing the game,
hmm
that's one thing.
hmm
But to like run games and try to charge people, like I have a start playing, but I have not used it because it just feels like it feels weird to me. I don't know. I just can't get into that mindset of like I'm gonna charge you to play a game with me. Like I do that. I can do this for free with my friends all the time. Why should I charge you for it? It just
Well,
Yeah,
seems weird to
exactly.
me. Yeah.
and I feel like it's because also you guys like know what that feels like. You wouldn't want someone to do that to you either, you know? Like you wouldn't want to have that barrier up. And you're very genuine because it's like you're doing it because you generally love it. You generally want to connect with people. There are some people that are generally just see it as like, oh, I just want this money, like give me the money kind of thing. And that's not the right way to look at it. So I agree with you guys. Like I think that it's good that you have that like limit for yourself where you don't want to do that because you want to
Mhm.
keep it very fun and keep it like like a community and keep it very engaging. You don't want to make it about money. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Yep, I see it as I'm gonna keep running Annual TIO in my channel, signing up for other channels and stuff to run to meet new people and go into cons hopefully this year, meet more
Cons sound like
people.
fun.
Just go from there. Whatever
Mhm.
happens, happens. I just want to play games and run games with more people, meet more people in the community at the end of the day, and just see what happens from there. Like, there's no
Yeah,
Yeah.
pressure on any
exactly.
of that. If it
Yeah,
happens, it'll
no.
happen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Exactly.
Man, but I think that is all we have. Nate, thanks for joining us tonight.
Nate, it
Is,
was awesome meeting you. I've heard so many amazing things about you.
Oh, they're
no,
all
don't,
lies. Don't
no, don't
believe them.
listen.
Don't
Don't.
believe them.
Yeah. I just talked so much shit about you, Nate. It's okay.
It's
You should
fine.
be used to
It's
it.
fine.
So before we let you go, I know you have some stuff that you have going on. Is there you want to go ahead and plug all the stuff that you're doing currently?
Sure. Yeah. So, again, thank you so much for having me on here.
Hmm.
Pleasure to meet you, Jenny, and Pluto, of
Thank
course.
you.
It's always so awesome to see you. Um, if you want to follow me personally on socials, mainly active on Instagram at nride93. That's where you can follow me for like all my upcoming stream updates and whatnot. Right now, I'm basically only active on the initiative order, where I'm currently running two games, starting with Fallout by Modifius. It's a 2D20 system, uh, homebrew world, but it's all entirely based on the Fallout video game series because I'm a massive fan of the series. And so we're
Nice.
writing a mini series. It's every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can also catch me running Symbarum every other Sunday at 12 p.m. Or no, now 12:30. Apologies, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Uh, Aside from that, I'm lurking in the Initiative Order Discord. So if you want to hang out and meet awesome people, come join us in there. I think that's really all I got going on.
Yeah, you
Pretty
can join.
boring.
You can
So
join the community chat and watch me and Nate get traumatized by the horrific Pokemon pictures that get shared way too frequently
oh
in there.
god, oh my god,
Jesus,
Nice.
it's
That's funny.
terrifying.
I don't get the appeal. They're so bad. Um, Watch after this episode airs. There's gonna be a bunch of people post a bunch of them too.
Yep.
Oh,
Um,
can't wait, can't wait.
and then as for us right now, Power Rangers on TIO. I am a Green Ranger in that. Frankie Oliver on the second and fourth Mondays of each month. I don't think we really have an end date. It's till Willie gets tired of running Power Rangers.
Good luck
Uh,
with
Nice.
that.
yeah, so
Will's a machine.
that's at um what time is it? That's at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. And then Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, I am running a Starfinder Atcho play with some people, and it's already been very chaotic. Just turned into pretty much Uncle Sam last episode.
Oh my gosh.
So definitely tune into that, see what the hell goes on with them.
That's hilarious.
And then I have a couple games coming up on TIO and Open Circuit for a Dresden Files on TIO and a superhero game on OCS. So keep tuned for the details for those as they come out. And then,
Nice.
Babe, do you have anything you wanted to plug?
Sure. Just guys, you can follow me everywhere. With on Just Being Jin. So that's Just Being Jin, Gin. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram, YouTube. All those are acting channels specifically. We also have a new episode of the series that I really like creating with friends. It's called The Dating Parade. It's like a funny little comedy sketch thing. New episode of that coming out on my TikTok channel. If you're ever down to collab and you're an actor, let me know. Yeah, other than that, that's it basically. Just the channels you can follow me on.
Oh yeah, I totally have social media too. So I'm Pluto Cleric everywhere. I just forgot to plug that part of it.
Oh yeah, whoops.
I have way too
No,
much
they
shit
don't
that I
got no
plug.
social media. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm mostly on Twitter as long as Twitter operates, I guess, because Twitter is a shithole right now. But Yeah,
When hasn't it been?
it's gotten so much worse though. I feel like
I believe it. I abandoned ship a while ago.
it's just so buggy now is the problem. I feel like it's just really
Gotcha.
buggy. But yeah, I'm mostly on there, and then I'm also mostly on Twitch. So just follow me there on my Twitch and Initiative Wars Twitch. That's where I seem to run everything. But yeah, with that, I think that is it for tonight's episode. Nate, thanks again for stopping by and chatting with us a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we will see you all next week. So have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.